There you go. Go ahead, Martha, continue.
Thank you. I always forget we are being recorded. And this is our last official meeting for this year of 2021. And I'd like to welcome you all to our meeting today. It's going to be a very interactive time together to share ideas. And so let's get started. We have now a time for visitor comment period. So I see Paul and Ramona and Neil. Who would like to join in first? We want to welcome you.
Nothing special. I officially retired of sorts per se, decided not to look for a regular full-time work. I'm just going to maintain a small private practice helping people age in place. And,
Congratulations.
Yeah, it's kind of nice. I'm enjoying it.
Good, good. And we have Beth and Ramona and Neil. Who would like to go next? You're on mute, Ramona.
I have nothing special to say or announce either. I'm here as a visitor and
Wonderful.
interested in proceedings.
Good.
Yeah, I unfortunately wasn't able to come to the last meeting, but I'm just here once again as like the youth kind of liaison person. And yeah, everything, not many major updates, everything's going well. Still doing my PDX concierge grocery service. So for seniors, everything's going pretty well.
Has it been, Neil? Have you seen more folks using the
yeah, no, it's been pretty well. Probably about like the same amount of folks using, but we're still glad, to continue it at that scale. And I'm happy to help more people whenever needed. So
Wonderful.
Are you doing more than just the groceries? Are you still providing assistance as far as different things that they might need?
No, we do like tailor it based on needs. Like there are certain things, we aren't able to do, but we are able just to provide like that general help too. So yeah.
Okay, good. All right, now you're back in school, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you have more limited time, but you're still.
Yeah, a little bit more limited, but yeah, still happy to help and everything.
Okay, very good. Thanks for the update.
Yeah, of course.
A reminder of something that they do that I really, really appreciate, and that we can, if we know anybody who needs it, might help, is they often help with tech support too for people who might be technologically challenged. That they do that, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah, happy to help with those kind of things. Yeah.
Now, Paul, how did you know that's what I was in need of?
There's no coincidences, and heaven knows, just there's things called synergies, and so
very good. Thanks.
Wonderful. And Beth, welcome.
Yeah, thanks. I'm Beth. I'm from Beaverton City Library, and I'm excited to be here and at this kind of sounds like brainstorming a meeting and hearing everybody's responses to the questions. So appreciate it.
Wonderful. And I see Jamie has joined us. Hi, and I have a phone number here, but I have no idea who it is. 503-318-4700.
This is David Christie, 11655 Southwest 12th Street.
Hi.
Hi.
Welcome, David. Please share, tell us why what inspired you to join us today.
Well, I have a notice from Beaverton government. I'm on the list for notification, and I'm a retired senior citizen. I'm 74. So I just want to see what's going on.
Oh, good. Well, we're glad you're here. And always feel free to put your video on if you would like to.
I tried to log in through Zoom, but it didn't work on my iPad.
Oh, okay. Well, you're here.
So I'll just listen on the phone.
Wonderful, wonderful. So because we're having a challenge with getting our minutes completed, we're going to push ahead to December to verify approval of our October minutes. So we're
Oh,
going to bypass that today. So our next little item on the agenda is to have updates from our subcommittees. So I think, Bev, you were kind of spearheading your group. Do you have any updates to share with us?
I do. Okay, our committee has met, and hopefully all of the members have received a document that is labeled BCOA Subcommittee Directory of organizations relevant to the 55+ population. Have you received that? Do you have it available to you? Is there anybody who does not have that available?
I don't have it.
Oh,
I sent that out in my email, Martha.
Oh,
So if you check your email from me that went out to the board, I
I missed it.
included that from that
thank
attachment
you.
was on that.
Bev,
email.
I apologize. I will look at it.
okay, very good. Well, in that, we finalized, or we had our last meeting of the year and of this subcommittee. And our agenda was to complete the information we had on the document of identifying different groups within the area who provide services. And I think I'm going to just, since you don't have it, Martha, I'm going to just try and skim through this very fast, so at least you'll have an idea. Everybody else, you don't need to have your document right in front of you. If you do, that's great. Follow me. If not, don't worry about it. You obviously do have it accessible to you. And I don't know that we would do anything directly with that document today anyway, so don't worry about it. Okay, your committee was made up of John, Paul, Sunita, Suzanne, and Bev. John was working with the Beaverton Bicycle Advisory Committee and the Nature and Trails Advisory Committee, part of Tualatin Hills Park and Recreation. And what we have done with all of these agencies is to identify their purpose and how they might be contacted. And within that would be included the services that they would be able to provide to that age population within the Beaverton. The next was Paul, and he chose to find out more information and provide it for us to the Jesse F. Richardson Foundation. And again, that information is rather lengthy. It takes up a full page, so there's a lot there. So I'm not going to give any of the details there, but know that it is there and the services they provide and the contact information. Then Sunita provided information on Stand for Children and AVID, which she has shared some information with us over time. And again, all of the information of what they do and how to contact them is enclosed in her area. And then we have the ARP. Suzanne did that, and she's an extremely involved person in ARP. So if you need anything on ARP, you've got to go to, believe me. And yeah, she has done a great job of putting together and getting information. And we all know ARP serves us well. And this just puts a little more information on it. I was interested in finding out what our federal government is doing for us and the committees within the federal government. However, getting in touch with them, I did have contact and actually did listen in to a couple committee meetings on C-SPAN. But unfortunately, I have not been able to reach anyone who I could talk to personally to find out more extensive information, because they're all so busy taking care of business. I don't know which business exactly, but we all know they've been there. And so I will continue to search for resources and identify better information and more information and send it on to BCOA. So as a result of that, in our discussion, we came up with some recommendations for BCOA, and it so happens for the city of Beaverton. And as a result, we recommend that the city of Beaverton with BCOA committee develop a comprehensive directory of all providers of services similar to the information that we have included with our report. And this should be coordinated with other agencies like Viva Village and or the library, which of course, Beth, you already have some great information available. And we recommend that that directory be an electronic grid available to BCOA, all city departments, so they can access it and respond to any questions from any and all Beaverton citizens, organizations, and those outside of Beaverton requesting information. And we feel that that type of directory would provide an excellent resource for BCOA to educate its own members, serve the community, and plan events for targeted groups. As we have put on several things over the years, this would be a good resource for, again, gaining access to groups or presenters that might, or that we want to be involved with us. The second thing is that we recommend that the members, BCOA members, review this directory for presenters at our regular monthly meetings. So this would be a good start to identify people who could present and be presenters or even be involved in any events that we might have. We also then, as an ending, we recommend that BCOA members determine if this subcommittee should end, be terminated, or continue with a new or revised purpose. So that is our report.
Wow. Well done, committee. That is outstanding. Oh,
They did a good job.
You did an awesome job. Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Many times.
Can I say something?
Sure.
Some people might not know what ARP is. That's AARP, or the Americans Association for Retired Persons.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Oh, it's so nice. More and more people are joining us. Hi, Sophie. Okay, our second committee was honoring our elder citizen on October 1st. And is anybody from that committee, Alexis, Sophie, want to speak about us, what we did and where we're going? I don't mean to put you on the spot. You can pass if you would like.
No, it's okay. I actually got some really good information recently because we're trying to plan this event, hopefully a face-to-face event in 2022. But seeing as I personally am currently recovering from COVID, it's still a thing. It still exists.
Yes.
And I'm one of the lucky few that can get their vaccination and still, come down with it. Definitely happy to be vaccinated, definitely a good place, but I was kind of in a mindset of like, oh, we're at the tail end of this. We're almost through it. It's almost over. It's not, it's tricky. It's waiting for you in the wings. Hopefully we can do a face-to-face in 2022. If not, I'm sure we're gonna still create some incredible virtual activities. But I was talking to the group last time about how in my work, I'm currently doing something that's similar on a much smaller scale. So I wanted to test out some things and see what would be the best way to create potentially a multi-day event to do this and how best to get the information out there. And I learned that you cannot tell people once, you cannot tell them twice, you cannot tell them 5 times, you have to tell them so many times and kind of really get the information in their brain and kind of get them to expect that this event is taking place. Because despite the numerous emails and posters and announcements, we've still had not as much participation as I would have hoped. So I was hoping to talk to the subcommittee about it today, but it might be worth starting to put information out kind of at the start of the year, get people used to this idea, get them used to the fact that, hey, we're going to be doing this. And so, put it in your calendars, put it on your books, because it is easy to miss that information if you don't get it out quite a bit. I don't know if anybody else from the subcommittee had anything they wanted to add.
Well, I would add a couple of things. We're also, as Alexis was saying, we really want to have it in person. And so we're praying for that, but planning for virtual. And part of the in-person was, part of our thoughts is to have a sock hop and have it be a real celebration and fun. We've been trying to do a sock hop for as long as I've been on the board, which has been 3 years. So anyway, we have a lot of things out there. And we're also looking at, there's the October 1st, honoring the older person, UN Celebration Day. And then the month of May is honoring the older adults. So we're trying to figure out how do we, we're going to make that work, and the October 1st. So we're still in a planning stage, but to have something that is community oriented, and again, hopefully in person, but we don't know for sure what's going to happen. So we're all sort of in this waiting, uncertain period of time. So anything else that we're more in a planning stage now that our first event happened already. And it was really quite delightful to have Mayor Beatty read the document honoring the Older Citizen Day. And it was really quite beautifully written. So there we are. Those are the project that's, one project is done and one project is ongoing. So moving on, we're going to have a discussion about engagement and connection with BCOA projects and members. So I sent out a letter with the questions in it, and Carley is going to be our scribe. We're going to take question by question, and please share your responses to, I've got something I have to read. Oh, Carley also wrote the questions in the chat.
Yeah, we're gonna scribe it on the whiteboard.
Yeah, we're going to have a whiteboard so we can see all of the things, and then we will also get it in writing. So this is a time to share ideas, and whatever idea you have, just put it down. This is not, we're not deciding today, we're sharing ideas. So our first question is, what is something that you have enjoyed about the BCOA year? So please jump in.
Hi, everyone. This is Jamie.
Hi, Jamie.
Sorry, I'm driving right now, so I'm just sort of speaking at you. But one of the things I've really liked about the BCOA is just the transfer of information of what's going on in the community, and also really having that like intimate view into what the city's thinking and planning. It's been just really nice being up to speed on that, and I've certainly enjoyed it.
Thank you.
I've enjoyed the intellectual stimulation and so kind of socialization of sorts of the, you know, just thinking about what the future and how to get more people engaged. So that's been the value for me, a value.
Yeah.
For me, oh, sorry, you can go ahead.
No, go on, Neil.
Oh yeah, for me, I just enjoyed like the opportunity to really, to really pursue any idea that we have, because on the BCOA, it's really open, and there's a lot of opportunities to dive deep into whatever kind of projects we're interested in. So I enjoyed that.
Thank you.
This is John. I've enjoyed simply listening and contributing somewhat to new ideas and to the people that are on the committee, and being simply a part of the committee.
Thank you.
I think I'll just jump in. I think BCOA is a huge resource. I work directly with seniors for my job, and I always walk away with some really good information, resources, and it always surprises me where it comes from, where those resources come from. And sometimes a speaker will come on and I learn new things. I really like our speakers, like our guests that come and talk to us. And in the library, I love their presence. Viva Village, I like their presence. We have some really good partnerships.
Martha, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I was said that I had been muted, so I wasn't sure. Okay, what I've enjoyed is having the subcommittees actually take on projects.
Yes.
And come back to the full committee. I think that number one helps members know each other better, working together in small groups, and achieving something at the end that they can bring back to the committee.
Yeah, I was just thinking, Bev, that's really, really helpful in this age of being virtual with all our meetings. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, anybody else?
Well, as a visitor, I've enjoyed and been inspired by the energy that has been displayed by the members of the BCOA in tackling some of the issues of the community and working together, including the visitors, to try to resolve some of our concerns, especially this last couple of years with the COVID and the vaccine issue and so forth. It's encouraging and inspiring.
Martha, do you want to continue on this one, or do you want to go to another one of the?
I'm ready to move on unless somebody else has one other thing they want to share. I also have Susan's, but what she put down in hers, it's already on there, so I'm not going to duplicate it.
All right, Martha, up
Okay.
to you. Go ahead.
Okay. Numbers 2 is what would help you feel more connected with each other and to the BCOA? I'll go. Coffee times with no agenda.
Did you say coffee times with no agenda?
I said coffee times with no agenda.
Yeah.
To get to know each other.
I second the motion.
This is John. I'd say getting together face to face.
That too.
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree with John. I was just gonna add like in-person meetings because sometimes it's easier to stay engaged and like dive deeper into the projects, I think, in person.
And I think I would summarize the two together is that perhaps at the regular meetings, there could be 15 minutes either prior to the meeting or after the meeting where people do just more or less socialize.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I also like the idea of like dedicated mingle time where we can get to know each other maybe more on a more personal level.
Uh-huh. Right, finding out who each other is, because I know I missed out on knowing members well who, number one, they could have been, if I'd known they were doing that type of thing or interested, I would have enjoyed getting together with them or using them as a resource for something.
So the time built for socializing and dedicated mingle time would be during the meeting.
Well, I'm thinking it may not be during the meeting, but 15 minutes after or before the meeting.
Oh, okay.
So that it doesn't cut into it, but it allows us time to do it. If maybe everybody would hurry along and get the meeting over, and then you'd have even.
And
Yeah, I think
this is Jean, and you can add me to all 3 items.
Okay.
Agree with all.
Oops.
I also think that, hey guys, sorry, it's Jamie. I think we should be conscious though of like meeting length, because when these get over an hour and a half, it can be quite fatiguing. And I don't know if others experience that, but I'm on Zoom calls quite frequently and I start to fade after an hour and a half. So if we can get it in that time frame, that would be my preference.
Okay.
I don't know if anyone else feels similarly.
Yeah, I think it's important to be mindful of our meeting time frame because a lot of people are coming from work.
Mm-hmm. It might also, with the current, face-to-face limitations, it might be worth just making a separate, like Martha was saying, like a, separate coffee time. Like we're not here to, necessarily go into subcommittees or talk about anything else, just to kind of get to know one another.
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea. I endorse that as well, a separate time. And just a comment, research shows that social networking is one of the ingredients to successful aging.
Ah, I like that.
Can I jump in really quickly? I think it would be really fun at the very end of the meeting, once we shut off the recording, we could do a quick icebreaker, maybe like 5 minutes. We used to do that kind of around the table in person. And that was always really a highlight because then it kind of set the tone for the meeting. And we've kind of stopped doing that over Zoom. We're very business agenda oriented. So just a quick suggestion.
Thank you. Okay. Oh, those are, and we can always come back and fill in if we come up with other ideas. So what would make you feel excited about the BCOA focus or projects?
Oh, wait, sorry. I was on the wrong one, Martha. Sorry. Hold on one second. Sorry about that.
It's okay, hon.
Okay, I gotta move this so I can grab this one. All right, hold on.
There you got it.
Yeah, it was hiding underneath there. And this is like really sensitive. It's not like as
it doesn't.
It's not the easiest clicking thing as some are. Okay, there.
No
I think
problem.
we're ready.
This is John. I've got a degree, a master's degree in public health. And one of the things I think is lacking here is trying to focus a little more on not only aging in place, but aging in place health, with a healthy outlook. We're on this pandemic right now. We've had a lot of stressors, especially in the aging community. with the pandemic and with health effects from the pandemic and from other things. And I think we need to help people to understand that there are resources available for them that they can work with to try and get through this pandemic and come out the other side.
John, I was just trying to capture a key point from that. So if you want me to add, I didn't write down everything you just said, but I can add more. Something to remember what you were saying there.
Okay.
So focus in place with a healthy focus, like resources in place to help people. I think that's something.
Yeah, I think mental health is one of the big issues. So resources for mental health for people, especially our aging community.
Yeah. Yeah.
An adjunct to that is that one of the more common contributors to decreased mentation or cognition is depression.
Mm.
Yeah. Did you want, that didn't really answer that particular question, Paul, so I'm happy.
It's just a comment about the value of behavioral health, mental health, that aging in place, big challenge, non-compliance with treatment regimens, and you know, the factor of cognition is significant, and you know, depression is you know, that this time has been depressing, you know, and so it's just to corroborate, not necessarily to add to that, but just to corroborate that being mindful of mental health.
Yes.
Well, I think the suggestions for icebreakers and more socialization would combat that very issue of depression.
It will help. It will help within our community, our community. But what I'm focused on more is the community around us. Getting word out to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So go ahead, Bev.
I have a question for Beth on that issue, and that is, what is the attendance to the Age Cafe and Death Cafe?
That's a great question. Thank you for asking. At Age Cafe, I would say our average number is about 22. At Death Cafe, we were looking more at like 12. But I want to say that, you know, we were getting we see new faces all the time. So we have people come and go. Some people would come, you know, to every single one, and some people drop in once or twice. So it's maybe 22 people might be the average number, but we're reaching more individuals than just 22.
Okay, I guess then my next question actually is an open question to anybody who can answer it. And that is, we know that a number of the aging population out there cannot access those. Even when you can meet face to face again, I think one of the important things is looking at how homebound people or people who simply do not get out can also participate. Is there any way that, I know there's some very simple, straightforward computers that are advertised in a number of, they're not magazines, but in different places, of computers for people who lack technical skills. Is there any way we can look at making those, or number one, checking into it to see if they are really a viable piece of equipment? and then looking at writing a grant or something to purchase some. And third, to get those out to some homes. And Neil, this is where training from you might be really great, teaching these people how to do it so they can access more than they do now, because they don't drive. So even if you have something, they may not be able to get there. But if we could create that link to accessing groups that will promote their own socialization.
Yes. Well, you know, this is a really interesting thing that we're talking about right now, because the Aging with Grace program put on by Viva Village on last Saturday was wonderful, was so good. And there were a group of people from Viva Village and maybe elsewhere who have no access to technology. So one of the members from Viva Village hosted those people in her house, and they put on the screen the presentation, and then they as a group actually talked about the issues and the activities that were planned. So there's definitely models out there to look at.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, that's a great idea. And Carley, do you remember when Mayor Beatty was asking for information on the elderly and the new housing for that, for the that group? What about passing the word on to her that, hey, have a central area where there is computer, where those people can join and access groups, even sit in on the BCOA meetings or city meetings, and make sure that's there for them, so they are not locked out of a lot of things that they cannot get to personally.
Mm-hmm.
And is that available in any way at the library right now, Beth? For like an individual, I mean, maybe not a group, but an individual.
What do you mean by individual?
Like if a computer is somebody wanting to participate in a virtual training.
I see, like just
library,
a member of a community. No, our computers do not have video or audio input. Okay. Now, to host a hybrid meeting in one of our meeting rooms, you know, if I was the staff point person, that's absolutely possible. We have the equipment for that. But no, we're not a good place for just individuals to come and join Zoom meetings. We don't have computers that will do that.
But possibly like some sort of social distanced in-person posting of a thing, hybrid or something.
Yeah, absolutely, we could. Yeah.
Thanks for.
Could they also get in one of the meeting rooms and participate in a off-site presentation or program that was piped into them?
Well, yeah, so this model of where someone had someone at their house and shared the meeting with a bunch of people watching, we have the capability to do that at the library. But again, it's all comes down to planning and what, you know, where is the event and who are we trying to get to watch the event and why, you know, that sort of thing. Like what, you know, we want to have a reason for why we're doing it. So if was a specific event in mind, like the Viva Village presentation, yeah, the library could be a partner in that and have people do that just as well as an individual could at their house.
Well, I want to share something that Susan said for this answer to this question, was seeing ideas come to fruition, that our committee is being validated and heard, that they're providing valuable service.
What did it say? Valued and heard?
Is being validated, valued and heard. Yes, that's perfect. And I wanted to add to really address and educate our community on the issue of ageism. Because we have people who are aging all the time. And all of a sudden, all these young people and middle-aged people are going to become older people. So how do we help them along so that they're more readily equipped to handle what we're going through now?
An adjunct to that is that, there's something called expectational value, and there's a lot of older folks who actually have negative perceptions of aging that aren't necessarily based. They may be based in what they experienced in the past. That may not necessarily be true. Case in point, my brother-in-law has Parkinson's disease. My father-in-law died of complications from Parkinson's disease. So even though his Parkinson's disease is different, he's that's been his role model. So he's kind of living that out, even though it's different. And again, we have a lot of, old folks have ageist.
Oh, yes, I'm ageism for the whole community too.
Yeah. And that becomes, then can become self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yep. Well, and another thing I want to put under the projects and focus, to continue with our age and death cafes.
Absolutely.
Those are so wonderful.
Is that here, Martha, and make people, okay.
Yeah.
I agree, Martha. That's why I think I'm so interested in making sure that more of the aging population who can't get out, who don't drive, can get access to those. There are opportunities to participate in groups through technology. But if you don't have the technology and you don't have the skills to do it, then you can't do it. It's sort of like what we've gone through in the pandemic with school-age kids. If they didn't have access to the internet, they weren't going to participate in any of the online classes.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing that the age and death cafes address is what are our beliefs about aging and death that maybe not so valid or appropriate. Yeah, thank you. Any other ideas for what would make you feel excited about the BCOA focus and projects? Okay, let's move on. What would a successful, thriving BCOA look like to you? So Susan has a pulse on all things aging, and she had aging in quotes. And we would be a one-stop shop, a source guide with contacts.
She was part of our committee.
Yes, I can tell.
Last thing she said, a one-stop shop, what, Martha?
A one-stop shop which would be a source guide with contacts. So a lot of what Bev was sharing that their committee put together.
She's a good ambassador for the committee, isn't she?
She
For the
sure is.
I said it was a good committee.
You are right. I would want to make sure that our volunteer members feel like they're contributing what they want to contribute and feeling meaningful.
I feel meaningful and appreciated, and very thankful to be here every time.
Oh, thanks, Paul. I'm glad to hear that.
Well, I'm glad that the city does have a committee whose focus is for the older adults in our community. That's probably a big advancement over a lot of communities that don't.
Mhm.
And if anything, I think this pandemic has shown us that with our society where it is now, we are growing increasingly dependent upon technology. And my heart goes out to all the seniors who, for various reasons, have not been able to participate by Zoom or whatever, because they don't have the skill or they don't have the finances to be able to buy the technology and get the training. That the younger generation has the advantage in that they have learned in school that we older folks didn't have in school. And so it's up to the individual once they're out of school to keep up technologically wise. And a lot of folks just haven't been able to. And so I think that if anything, Beaverton, as a progressive city, needs to really put an emphasis on getting its residents up to speed technologically, and then finding some way to provide the resources for them, as has been alluded to earlier in some of the questions about places to be able to go or find out how to get up to speed. It's quite a challenge, especially since older folks don't always want to learn new things.
Ramona, you just shared a lot of insightful thoughts there, and some of them I think were connected to just sort of that general reflection on the city, and I also wanted to sort of think in terms of the question of the successful, thriving BCOA, if that's part of that is the BCOA playing a part in making sure people have the technological resources and support that they need. Is that?
Yes.
Was that a fair summary? I don't want to put words in your mouth though, so you can tell me if that's not capturing what you're.
Well, as I said, I think the city needs to really be the driving force to ensure that its citizenry have the means to be up to speed on technology, whether it's through their library or some other means.
You know, Ramona, it makes me think about in some of these small rural communities. I think it was in Georgia, they had school buses that had internet access on them, and they would drive around to neighborhoods and kids could get on the bus and do their homework.
Right.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that we should do that, but I think that's the picture I'm creating of what you're sharing.
Yeah, no, I agree. Ramona, you mentioned that not all communities have any group for their cities to really work with or obtain information or advocate for the older community. That is so true. One of the projects over the years that had in BCOA was contacting other communities, because we were trying to look at the structure of that committee, of our own committee, to see if we needed to do any changes. It was amazing how few communities in the city had any groups really advocating for this population.
Right.
In fact, Portland did have one and they terminated, and they were using Multnomah County, but because of the need, they were thinking of actually activating a committee in the near future.
Ava just wrote a question in the chat there, and Bev answered part of that question. And I think that Bev, you did some research to find out like where other committees on aging type committees existed at all.
Yeah. And I had to go outside of the state to get, and I found a couple, but it was really difficult. And so few had it. I mean, overwhelmingly, it was, I found only, I think it was 3, and that included 1 outside, 2 outside of the state who had one.
I called around a lot early on when in this committee looking for other, and I was also with a committee on loneliness, and there was I didn't find any. I called, they kept referring me to the area agencies on aging or the ADRC. Yeah, nothing tied to the city.
Great. I'll just add one more thing. For our guest that's here is that the cities tend to not have direct services in most cases for certain groups, whereas the counties tend to have like the mental health and veteran services and those kinds of things because the health departments are under the county services. So in our case, like Washington County has a lot of the direct services, but the BCOA has the connection to being able to support the things that happen on city council and the other city kinds of programs, and then providing the community outreach and connection and education and those other sorts of aspects that the BCOA provides. Oh, Beth also wrote in the comments, the chat, if you're not following the chat, that the library is hiring a 20-hour technology librarian to get the computer classes going again.
Good.
So that's great. Thanks. Martha, is there anything else? So I'll save this screen before we finish this, and then we can add in Sunita's, put it on a different format. So it's not just on a PDF, but we can save these ideas if there's any more.
Yeah, wonderful.
I got a question for Neil.
Yeah.
Neil, do you have the type of publicity you need for your work?
By publicity, do you just mean like
getting
having the word out there and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's something that we are always like needing more of, since we are a relatively new program, we could always use more publicity and getting our word out for our services, because we do have the capacity to do a bit more. And I know there's probably people out there that could use it, especially people who may be disconnected from like technology itself and may not see us out there, online or on news things and everything. So I think I was also going to ask like Bev too, if she could include us in kind of like that master resource list. As I think, yeah, like you were saying, I think that publicity is something that could always use more of.
Okay, now that we've had time to, and Carley, thank you so much for using the whiteboard. Were there any other pieces to the puzzle that people wanted to input before we move on? And or reflections from what we just did. Ideas, thoughts, ponderings.
And this is a way out there outside the box, but it is worth considering, I think. And that is, we have our Performing Arts Center opening in the spring. I recommend that the BCOA look at working toward establishing some program that can pick up some of the aging population and take them to the center for some of the performances that will occur there, and that there be set up a discounted price so that they can attend, and that be an ongoing thing. It's a good social skill, and they need to get out and see their community, and it's going to be a beautiful performing arts center.
Good idea. Yeah.
That's a great idea, Beth.
Thank you. and pick me up at 8 o'clock.
We'll put you on the list, Bev.
Yeah, let me know if you need chaperones.
Oh, that's a funny thought. Chaperones. Whoa, I love it. Okay, any other
I bet
thoughts?
the Arts Commission would love to do something special for the aged population. Don't you think?
I totally agree.
I mean, look at Reeser. She fits in the group.
And I assume that her vision of this Performing Arts Center is for all, not
That's
just for
right.
a selected few.
That's right.
Yeah.
Martha, I have a few updates and then also just a couple extra things in addition, updates if that's whenever
So,
you're ready.
Let's move on. I really appreciate everybody's effort. And as I said, this is our last official meeting for the year of 2021. We're going to celebrate, do something fun next month. And then in January, we're onboarding some new people and we'll start 2022. So lots of surprises coming for all of us. Okay, so
go ahead. Sorry, Martha, I didn't mean to.
Oh, Carly, go on. I'm talking too much.
Well, I was listening to you all as you were talking about this desire to sort of, I know that desire to meet in person. And I will just say that some of the boards have met in like a socially distanced way for like a special meeting. So like, if there's a desire and people want to do that for the December meeting to set up some sort of space that's, we could get, I mean, it is possible to do an in-person gathering where we can think of protocols to keep it safe for our group. But there's some of the other boards have done that, for the purpose of being able to see each other in person. So like we could think about that kind of measures. And if people are like, well, no, I want to meet one-on-one, I don't want to do a whole group thing, then that's the other consideration, whether or not that we would do something. If only like 2 people want to come in person, then, maybe it's not ready time yet. So it's kind of a little bit up to the group, but I just wanted to say that, the December meeting is traditionally, we've just had a very short meeting at the very beginning, and then it's some sort of celebration. Last year we did it virtually and just kind of did icebreakers and did something fun to just get to know each other in that way. So we could do something kind of like what we did last year. I think it was still fun for everybody that came. But, also thought I could just check in with you all and see if you want to do something in person, maybe like a really big room, like get a really big space or something.
Carly, do you know, or Jamie, you may be better prepared to answer this question. Is the city doing the thank you banquet in January or February?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think that's happening. Their city has been doing some events, but every event, they've been either outdoors or with everything's been with COVID protocols in place. So I would have to work with, I'll check with city staff to see like what we would need to do. I mean, I think if we're indoors, it's like masks need to be on unless it's, somebody's like actively taking a drink of something, that kind of thing. Those are kind of the guidelines, but I can check with city staff. I just wanted to sort of run it by you all first to say like, is there interest in that as like a little gathering of sorts? So maybe just from committee members, can I just see like, if raise your hand if you would be interested in that? Those who are
like an in-person.
And also like those, Paul and Ramona, you've been coming to all of our meetings. Like I want to hear of those other folks that have also, everybody from who's participating. Great. Well, there's a lot of interest. Okay, so let me look into that then to see what's possible to do for the December since people are interested. Okay, I will follow up with that and then let you all know outside of this. So that was my first question. Some other sort of practical things. There was interviews for the new board members. We had several people who left during the year. and for various reasons. So we're going to have some new faces joining. So this conversation today, this kind of thinking a little bit, was kind of somewhat also to kind of reflect on the year, but also think like, how's it going to help us be thinking about how to have a really great year next year as it transitions into January being the first meeting of the year. And along with that, the reason Beth is here learning about our meetings is that we're going to be transitioning into having Beth, she'll be transitioning into taking over the staff liaison role with her connection to the library. So we've been talking about like what makes the most sense in terms of how to support the BCOA, and Beth, with all of her work with adult services and the age cafes and the death cafes and the connections with Washington County Adult Services, is really already doing a lot of things directly connected with the older adults. So we're thinking of transitioning that, and I'm going to still be here for a little bit to help in this. So I'm not like leaving right now, but I wanted to share that all with you. I'm very excited that Beth is excited to help support this group. So she joined us today to kind of start that conversation and learn and kind of hear from everybody about what people are thinking. So I invited her to join, and invited her to join December too, and then kind of get so she can learn the ropes of like the staff liaison side of things. So those are some of some practical announcements I wanted to share with you all. And then I have some city things here. There's like a long list, so I'm gonna go over those really quick. But again, thanks to Beth. We can, okay, let me share. Oh, wait, where'd my?
Before you go on,
I'm
just gonna say that's great news about Beth, but we're gonna miss you.
Oh, thanks, John. I've had a great time with you all. This has been really a joy. I mean, it's been really fun. I have seen the evolution of this committee over the past several years. Before, when my predecessor and I would sometimes cover for him as a staff liaison, and it's evolved over time, and it's been really fun to get to see. So let me pull these up here. We have a bunch of things. So let me just catch up. So there's leaf drop-off events happening. So there's weekly drop-off events through December 4th. So if you would, let's see here on, and then the events help facilitate proper debris disposal and collect food donations for the area food pantries. And so there is a link, and I can provide this all to everybody in the email, but this website here, I'll put into the chat, will tell you where, well, maybe I won't, yeah. Oh, I'll include it in the email. We'll tell you on the city's website where to find out where those are happening, for the times and the dates and the details. And just a reminder that the leaves that are dumped or blown or left in the street, they can cause localized flooding. The next note here is around the One Book, One Beaverton 2022, which I'm sure Beth knows all about. This book is The Cold Millions by Jess Walter. And let's see, this is a historical novel set in the Pacific Northwest. And there's more information. The free copies of the book start on Saturday, November 13th at a special book giveaway from 11 to 2 at both of the libraries. And then there's going to be a series of related special events. Then the author will be there on Saturday, February 5th.
When is the giveaway?
It is November 13th from 11 to 2. The next note there is that the Beaverton Winter Shelter is opening for the winter season. And this is a collaborative effort with the city and Just Compassion, the nonprofit of Eastern Washington County, and Washington County Supportive Housing Services. So the shelter has space for 30 adults, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And so there's going to be access to resources, showers, hot meals, and a safe place to sleep. And the shelter is going to be open from Monday, November 15th through Tuesday, March 15th. And then there's, of course, COVID-19 precautions for the guests and the staff. And let's see here. There's also here a note around ways to support the winter shelter. If you'd like, there's a place to drop off needed supplies starting on December 1st. And the top needs, there's a list of the top kinds of things that are needed for the shelter that I'm just going to, because there's so much information in this one, I'm just going to email it to you all so you have the details on that. Then lastly, the open air Beaverton, the First Street Dining Commons, has been extended through winter with a new layout for the winter.
Cool.
And there's been a grant to allow that to happen. And there's a new city councilor, Councilor Ashley Hartmeyer-Prigg. She started in October. Then I will include her little message to the community. It's a paragraph, so I'll let you all read that, her message to joining. There's a lot of city updates. They're also opening the lobby November 15th.
What's her name?
Opening. Ashley Hartmeyer-Prigg. So I'll send that out in so you can read it all in full detail.
Carley, do we have any information on the number, hopefully none, of elderly people who are homeless?
I can follow up and get that number, but I have heard that the majority of the people who are car camping, the highest demographic is, what did we hear the other day, was a 70-year-old women. So there's a lot of older adults who are really impacted by homelessness or houselessness in our community. But I could see if we could get some actual numbers from the folks who work with that. So let me make a note of that, Bev. I'm happy to share.
Okay.
And Carley, did I understand that to deliver supplies on December 1st for the shelter?
And I'll send that. Let me send you the email. There was a lot of details in this
That's
update.
okay.
So let me just email you all so you can see the actual link. There was just a lot and several links in there too. So I'll send it out to everybody. And if our guests, if you would like to be included on that update with all of those details, I'm happy to send that to you as well. You can just give me your email address and I'll include you.
Yeah.
I have our regular attending guests, but our guests that are attending for the first time.
Yeah.
Are there other questions? I know I just shared a lot.
Well, I do want to say that H Cafe has shifted to the first Friday of the month for the next several. So our next one is December 5th, I believe, and it's 11 to 12. And you can get onto that through Viva Village and the library. And our topic for the week for that meeting is to be announced. And our deaf cafes will begin again in the spring. We're making those kind of seasonal.
And doesn't the library send out a reminder to those who are sort of registered or involved or want to know?
It's not, it's confusing because we have so many partners. Those reminders come from the county, but yes, they're supposed to be, you're supposed to receive them. Yes.
Okay.
That was the 12th that's going to be on. That was November 12th for the Deaf Cafe.
No, deaf cafes won't start until the spring.
Oh, okay.
So our Age Cafe is Friday, I think it's December 5th.
Yeah.
And it's 11 to 12 online.
Yeah. So first Friday of each month, is that correct?
Yes, actually it's December 3rd, my bad. It's not the 5th, it's the 3rd.
That's what I had, and the city councilor Tim Don couldn't make it today. I didn't get any additional updates from her. But.
Okay. So anything else for the good of the order? Any events going on that you'd like to share, or new restaurants, coffee shops, things that you love to do around Beaverton? I want to do a big shout out for Brick House Coffee. It's a wonderful place to go. You can sit in or out.
I wonder, and I don't know, Carley, you know, the outdoor eating is going to be permanent now. What if we had a little gathering there? We aren't too many and there's spacing perhaps.
Okay, let's see.
And we could,
I'll look into that, Bev. I'll look into that as an option.
Enjoy that, and everybody could pick up something from the cafes around there.
Mm-hmm.
And just join in there. No matter what the weather, we will be covered. And we will support our community. I thought that was a great decision. It was enjoyed by many people. And you could be face to face then. And you know what? It is let's see, 10 after 4, no, 12, 14 after 4. We have 15 minutes left to socialize.
Well, I have one other thing. I'm the president of the Chinese Scientists, Engineers, and Professionals Association this year. And last month, we had a very interesting topic about earthquake preparedness by Yumei Wang. She was with the Oregon Department of Geology and is now with Portland State trying to get the engineers up to date on the subduction zone earthquake. Anyway, we made a recording of that meeting, and I could send it out to you if anybody's interested.
Is it a website?
No, it's a recording.
Oh, okay.
It'll be on Google Docs that you'll have to access and download.
Oh, John, you can send it to me, and when I send out this that update, I'll include that as a link for people to be able to.
Okay. Anyway, it's very, very informative. She's been working on this issue for decades, and when she presented it about 12 years ago, I put the canoe on top of my SUV because I was going across the river over to my work site and I wanted to be able to get back if something happened. Did that for about a week until my wife said that's kind of ridiculous, but that's how impressive that talk is.
That's good to know. Thanks, John. Hey, I have one thing on an unrelated note, but just in my main role as with the Center for Mediation and Dialogue, we're hosting our basic mediation training in January. So Martha's gone through this, and I think it's a really great training. I will say that it's really fun if you or somebody that you know is interested in becoming a mediator or getting that skills. It's a 35-hour training, so it's a bit of a commitment. So it's somebody that really wants to do this kind of work. But it's live now, and so registrations are open if somebody's interested. It's on the city website. So if you're interested, let me know. Just wanted to let everybody know that it's happening. So pass the word on.
Is it virtual training?
We're gonna do virtual. Yeah.
And
I would love to be in person because we get really good food when we're in person, but we.
I just want to say that it's training that's really relevant for everyday life with your partner, your spouse, your friends, your family, your neighborhood, just to learn about how to listen well. It's very good training.
Thanks, Martha.
Do you make a commitment to the city for X number of months or so many cases?
We have 2 scholarships. So it depends. So if you pay this is a 35-hour training that we do charge for. We do a lot of free trainings for the community, but this particular training is one that we charge a fee for, except if people apply for the scholarships, then they can take it at a discounted rate. And then one, is as somebody who wants to then be a community volunteer, and or if they apply to be a volunteer, but it's separate. Like the volunteer application with our program and that commitment is a separate thing, but it's a requirement to take a basic mediation training before you become a volunteer. But this is just for anybody who wants to take it. So we have a lot of people who don't then go on to be volunteers. They just want to take the skills, get the skills.
Carly, what is the fee then?
The regular price is $300. The scholarship price is $100. So we have the scholarships. We have 2. One is if people can write a little bit about how they're going to apply the skills to their community, whatever community that is. We're pretty broad with that. And then the other is a bilingual scholarship. If people are bilingual, we really need Spanish speaking mediators. So bilingual English Spanish is what we're looking for and willing to apply to volunteer for our program. Then that's the other scholarship that we are offering this year.
Hey, Carly, I noticed that the trainings are from 9 to 1 p.m. on the workday. Is it possible to do the training like not live and just watch the videos, or?
No, we are not going to record the sessions just for active participation. We've found actually that having done trainings on both work time and not work time, that we get higher participation on the work time.
Wow.
That there's a surprising number of workplaces that see this as something that is building skills for the workplace environments, which you can kind of see it's like conflict resolution skills. So when we offer weekend trainings, we haven't had very many people coming. So which is surprising to us too, because we wanted to be able to do the evening and weekend options for people to be able to sort of see where we get more participation, and we've had the highest with the actual just during the work days. So if we do offer one in the evening or weekend and then different one, I'll let you know. Thanks. Well, Martha, we can, I mean, if you want, I am to close the meeting and people want to chat, I can stop the recording whenever you close the meeting.
I just wanted to ask Alexis if she needs anything, any support or stuff.
That's very, very kind and very thoughtful. We are good. We've just finished our, quarantine. Both me and my partner, both fully vaccinated, both unfortunately came down with it. We're just lucky, I suppose. We are good. After the whole toilet paper shenanigan of kind of the start of everything, we've kept a very well-stocked pantry. So we were okay to shelter in place.
Good. Okay.
Thank you, though. It's very thoughtful.
So anything else good for the order? Thank you for a really great meeting. It was so good for me personally to see everything in writing and people's reflections and what's meaningful to you all. It was very helpful for me. So I thank you all for your input, and I would like to adjourn our meeting. Is there a, oh God, help me with the language. I always forget the
So
language.
moved.
Thank you, Bev. Is there a second? Thank you, Alexis. All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. So we're off being recorded.